All right. It's time to talk about the cards, everybody. Time for another weekly wisdom call. Time to get ready for some knowledge. Time to find out what these mean. These things that have been hidden. Well, not hidden. I mean, hopefully you know what a deck of cards is, but the real meaning of these has been hidden. And time to find out what they really mean in our life. Dun, dun, dun. I wrote a book about it. This is my book about it. I think it's going to be backwards on the screen, but it's called Play Your Cards Right, A Sacred Guide to Life on Earth. That's it. It's all about playing our cards right. It's a literal expression. Play your cards right. Where these cards are conscious symbols, or let's say differently, they are a language, and they are symbolic language to represent energy frequencies. Because everything is energy, right? And we are incarnated into energy frequencies, energy patterns that are all around us that we can't see with our eyes. Right? Scientists estimate that we can see less than 1% of the visual spectrum. There's so much more to reality than what we can see. These symbolize the energy patterns of life, the energy frequencies. There are 52 of them, 52 symbols. There are 52 weeks in the year. Interesting. 4 suits and 4 seasons. And when we add up the face values of all 52, we get 364. And then the Joker is the 53rd symbol, the 5th element in this 4-part system, represented as a proportion of 5/4, or 1 1/4. It's a mathematical model of life. Go figure. Hidden in plain sight. Each week is symbolized by one of these cards. Cards. Speaking in a high voice there. This week, the card in play is the 3 of clubs. That's the symbolic representation of the energy that is in play this week. Okay? And knowing what this energy means will enable us to know whether we need a raincoat for the week or whether we need sunglasses. Are you going to need some sunblock to play this well? Or maybe you're going to need an umbrella. Maybe you're going to need an extra layer of clothes. Or actually, maybe you're going to be taking some clothes off because it's going to be warm out. What is this telling us about the energy pattern for the week? What do we need to know so that we can best prepare? This is like the quantum weather report. Clubs is the mind, and the number 3, this is the 3 of clubs, is represented as a straight line. Getting our thoughts in order. Clarifying. So we have a clear line of thinking, clear direction, clear insight. But it can also mean this, going sideways, where you're like confused. Do I go this way or do I go that way? Do I turn left or do I turn right? And then your thoughts may get jumbled as your thoughts ping pong back and forth across your head. And that's not a fun feeling. It happens because you're afraid. That's where that comes from. And fear is an emotion. And the club is a clover. It's a flower. And this is a flower that grows on the soil of the heart. Our thoughts grow on the soil of our heart. If your heart is happy and joyful, you will have happy, joyful thoughts, which is to say, you will have clarity. If your heart is sad, you will have confused thoughts. So, playing the 3 of clubs, which we are this week, If you notice that your thoughts are confused and jumbled, if your thoughts are negative, if you're having some panic attacks, if you can't find your way, it's because your heart has given rise to these negative kinds of thoughts, these confused thoughts. It means it's time to look at the soil on which this flower is growing. The soil, your heart, probably needs some nurturing, some watering. What might you do to nurture the soil on which this flower grows? What might you do? You can actually even put your hand on your heart, and I sometimes, you can't really see me, but I'll actually tap on my chest. Kind of like in Tarzan, when Tarzan beats his chest. I'll tap on my chest, or I'll tap right on my sternum, like this. I'm lucky enough to have a wonderful partner who recognized already today that my thoughts were going like this, side to side. And she came over and put her hand on my heart, and that felt really good. Enabled my thoughts to come back in this alignment. So if you find that your thoughts are ping-ponging back and forth and you're confused and it's exhausting and you've got decision fatigue and you don't know what decision to make, come back to your heart, because it's your heart that's giving rise to the thoughts. And if your heart, again, if your heart is bad, if your heart is unhappy, if your heart is negative, if your love tank is empty, if you know the 5 love languages, if your heart tank is empty, you're going to have confused back and forth, divided thoughts. That's just what it's going to be. The solution, in other words, is not found in your mind. And that, of course, is the biggest problem. When your thoughts are ping-ponging back and forth, it's precisely that you're looking for a mental answer and you can't find it. The answer is not in your head. So that's precisely the problem. When your thoughts are ping-ponging back and forth and your mind is confused, precisely the problem is your mind can't find the answer. The answer is eluding your mind. The answer comes from somewhere else. Something else to bring your thoughts back into alignment. And I'm inviting you to come back to your heart as the root of the thinking. And so choosing to do things that feel good. Go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. Go to the gym. Eat a big box of chocolate brownies. No, don't do that actually. That's not a very good idea. Eat a pint of ice cream. That'll make me feel better. No, not that either. Healthy things. Healthy things for your heart that make your heart sing. Maybe you listen to music. Maybe you get a hug. Someone who you know, you say, I just need a hug. Can you give me a hug? Things that make your heart feel better, so then your thoughts will come into alignment following that. It can be that easy. But your mind may be ping-ponging back and forth, trying desperately to find an answer. Okay, so this is the energy of the week, this or this. So notice this week, anytime your thoughts are clear and then boop, and then they're not. And that's the practice, if you will. That's the spiritual practice for each of us, is what happens that triggers us from having mental clarity to going in a divided, side-to-side, confused state. This energy is a disarmingly sensitive energy. It's a single line. It's a tender reed in the wilderness, so to speak. And so you may be all too easily knocked off kilter this week, and you may not even realize it until it's too late. So when and if that happens, just be aware of coming back to your heart to transform the energy from your emotional state, which will transform your thoughts. Now, what can also happen when this one is present is you try to resist going sideways by being overly blunt and insisting. So be aware of that possibility too, that you may be trying to be too blunt, too direct, too incisive with your words, and you may experience that from other people, because we're all playing this game where we want to keep our thoughts in order. And one of the ways that people try to do that is by insisting. If they never have to change their mind, then they think it will mean that their mind is clear. If they never have to listen to your thoughts, then that means to them that they will never lose their own inner certainty or inner clarity. So watch out for that. This game, which we're all playing a game, this game that people play to try to make sure that they get to keep their own way of thinking. They try to railroad you or cut your thoughts down, or they don't listen to you. Be alert for that. Be aware that you may be doing that yourself. This tender clarity doesn't need anyone else's approval in order to be true. Although you may very well benefit from a good sounding board this week. Someone who you can talk to, someone you trust, trusted friend or mentor, who can help you validate, like, yes, that's really right for you. That's the right decision. That's really true. Just be aware, as in the old maxim, that you don't cast your pearls before swine this week. Don't seek everyone's approval. Don't talk to everyone and try to make sure everyone is on board with your idea or everyone agrees with you. That is a recipe for this to happen. Da-da. That's a recipe for someone, just one person who disagrees with you will send you back into this ping-ponging, stuck inside the paper bag inside your own mind, trying to find your way out. So make sure you pick a trusted friend and advisor to help you clarify and validate that your thoughts are accurate and in alignment. So, in summary, trusted friend to help you validate. Be aware of your own tenderness, that your thoughts are maybe fragile. Your way is sensitive to you because it's personal, right? So you may have a sense of vulnerability about your own thinking. So don't cast that before swine. And being aware of other people trying to railroad you to think the way they think, or doing that to other people yourself. And most importantly, coming back to your heart as the way to reconnect with the soil from which the healthy, happy thoughts grow. So that's my quantum weather report for you this week, as the sun starts to shine over my shoulders on the Brooklyn Promenade. The rain clouds clear away. It's a good metaphor for when this is like this, it can feel like it's a cloudy day. And when your mind is clear, it's like a high-pressure, cloudless, sunny day, and everything seems right with the world. So look for that in your life, because we each live in our own world. We each vibrate our own universe, a singular verse that we each contribute to the multiverse. And yet we're all overlapping. And this week, the way that we overlap is represented by this. It means we're all looking for clarity. We all want to have this mental certainty and surety in our way of thinking. And we can realize that my truth doesn't have to be your truth. Right? My way is not your way. And so we can support each other to have mental clarity without trying to force everyone to think the way that we do. You can have your way of thinking about it, and I can have my way of thinking. And my thinking is valid for my universe, and your thinking is valid for your universe. Right? So enjoy the game. Enjoy the game this week, being in touch with your own mental clarity. And as you do, notice any particular creative insights that come in. This is like an antenna. So you may have wonderful creative downloads of insights and ideas this week. As you do, write them down. This is a writing energy, so you may very well want to write your thoughts this week, journal, and translate this insight that you're getting into some creative communication and in verbal expression, whether written or oral. So, yeah, I guess there's a lot to say about this one. This is an energy of speaking a lot of words. So notice that you may have a stronger desire for communication this week. There may be a lot more on your mind that you want to speak out. I feel like I've said enough. There's more I could say, but that's plenty, right? That's plenty to chew on. So as always, I encourage you to live your life like it's your favorite game to play.